Welcome to Legal Limelight. Today I have Emily Zimmer. She's a senior brand strategist at Avenue Z. She's a data analyst and trend forecaster. She is one of the most interesting, cool, forward-thinking leaders in the digital marketing space. I met her at the Shark Tank reunion in Tampa and was instantly connected with her and said, Emily, you have to come on the show because we have a bunch of lawyers in our community that really need you. So I'm so excited to have you on the show today, Emily.
Thank you for having me, Francesca. I am very excited to talk about today's topic.
Yeah, so we want to talk today about legal marketing for lawyers. Social media is a word that literally makes a lot of attorneys cringe. We are typically gate-kept behind the scenes, locked away in a castle that you have to pay a lot of money to get access to. So the even just the concept of getting in front of the camera and giving free information is so against the grain, but also is very scary for some attorneys who are afraid to give either not information that wouldn't apply to everyone or be misconstrued. So we're in a new world now. However, we have a platform, and I know that you work with other lawyers and other professional service providers as well. So let's talk a little bit today about social media for lawyers. And I'll start with asking you, why is social media important for lawyers?
Oh, wow. I mean, there's countless reasons, but I think the best analogy I can give, especially for law social media strategy, it's really planting seeds for the future so you can have a harvest. So while brands like D2C brands, they'll push for like immediate sales, lawyers are really supposed to be cultivating that trust and credibility over time. So whenever a legal issue does arise, clients know exactly where to turn. You're on that top of mind awareness. And that's why an active social media strategy is the best play for definitely law firms in general.
So when you have a client, if you have a client that is maybe a little bit more adverse to social media, how do you usually get them over that hump? What do you usually start with someone who may not be used to video?
I think so. You brought up a great point just now, video. I think getting your toes in the water and testing with graphics first is going to be your best bet. When people are a little bit more adverse to taking their, law firm on social and really starting to grow their presence there, video is always going to perform well. Video is king. However, there's also so many other platforms where just graphics will help you get your feet in the water so you can test and gauge where those audiences are. And then those can inform your video content strategy so you don't feel like you're just jumping in feet first, head first. I think whenever I first go into a client consultation about their content strategy for law, of course, I do ask about video, but I ask the first questions of really what scares you about going on social? What kind of gets you hesitant? What makes you kind of cringe? And we keep the conversation there. As a lawyer yourself, like what do you think you've seen a lot of the issues kind of arise where people don't want to go on social or what makes them hesitant?
I think the old school concept of having your lawyer be almost a flat role and not having a personality outside of work. You don't
Yeah.
go to your lawyer for personal advice or lifestyle advice. You go to your lawyer because you only have 10 minutes with them because they're 900 an hour and you want to get this legal answer. So I think it's from a customer perspective, there's almost this, if I'm paying a lot of money for my lawyer, I really don't care what's going on besides what I'm paying them to tell me. But also the fear from the lawyer side, I know because I've personally been there. You're afraid to say something that's wrong. You're afraid to to be misconstrued. You're afraid to get sued for giving, giving away legal advice. Or you are afraid of looking stupid in front of your peers. And I think the latter is absolutely the one that catches most people off guard. So what I tell lawyers is once you get over that hump of being afraid and fearful, then the world opens up because you can just be an extension of yourself through social media. We use social media to connect with our clients directly in a way that 99% of my colleagues are not, so that when people come and meet with me, they feel like they already know everything about me, that they're ready to work with us.
Exactly. And I think that that brings up a great point. You are a shining example of this. Instead of being worried of, looking stupid, you need to realize like people engage with transparency and people hire people, not your firm. So trust really does matter a lot more than those credentials. I think a big play in the law space right now, specifically on those video heavy platforms like TikTok, LinkedIn, now even Instagram Reels, is really brand personification, really humanizing your legal practice. Like it should feel approachable. It should not feel like a corporate brochure. People shouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't engage or relate to this person because they're so out of my league or they're so expensive. In my opinion, a really successful content strategy for law firms is where lawyers act as educators, really not as those salespeople for their firms. Again, to keep that top of mind and to keep that authority. I think that's really going to be the biggest play in content strategy for videos specifically, just because, again, like you just said, people engage in transparency. They love seeing your videos because it's top of mind and there's feeling like you're very relatable. You're giving an authentic type of association with your law firm. And I think that that actually speaks more volumes and generates more revenue than a lot more lawyers may think down the road.
So if I'm a lawyer that's starting and I've never really used social media besides for personal reasons, and if I wanted to start, what platforms do you think are good for me to start
I
with?
think I think it actually kind of depends on what type of firm you are running. I think LinkedIn is really going to be best for that B2B, the thought leadership. I think every law firm should be on LinkedIn just generally, just so you can have that increased brand authority and presence. But that's going to be best for B2B brands, like people who are looking to engage with brands. I think Facebook is going to be best for that community driven, maybe the personal injury, family law, estate planning law. I think that's really going to be the channel I would start with for those types of firms. And you can really do that with like hyper localization and sharing firm updates on Facebook specifically. For Instagram, I think I would recommend probably, that would be like a secondary platform for me. I think that's a little bit of a younger demographic. So that's really where I would recommend doing content testing. So those educational carousels, trying out those attorney highlights, seeing what resonates and what doesn't, and kind of pivoting your content strategy from there. And then I also feel like this is another great place where you can tell the story of your firm rather than your lawyer. So a lot of like the culture stories, office tours, kind of just giving people a sneak peek of what's going to be happening there. And then another one that I definitely think everybody should, after going onto those primary, the LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, go into is going to be TikTok and YouTube. Specifically for right now, those are becoming extremely SEO heavy platforms. This is really where people are going to get those common legal questions answered. And that short form video has high discoverability. And especially if you are a firm that has that engagement and those insights informing your content strategy, that's going to get you to the top for high discoverability, which again keeps that top of mind presence. So those are really how I would go about them. I think for Twitter and X, whatever people are calling it right now, that's going to be real time legal insights. I think once you've kind of mastered your basic content strategy, that's when you should go on Twitter and X, just because it's very timely. It's news commentary. It's networking with media professionals, but it's extremely timely. So I don't recommend starting there, but I do think it's the cherry on top of a content strategy well thought.
That is a $1 million marketing strategy right there. So hopefully you had a notepad. If not, go back and rewind. Gold. And literally, when you were talking on stage, Emily, it was like, oh, she's amazing. She's so smart. Like, wow. Sometimes it's so hard to just see through like the forest through the trees and to see this. But obviously, like, this is the future we're in. We are all on our phones. We're connected digitally way more than we are in person. So this isn't an area that lawyers can afford to really miss out on.
Especially now, Francesca. I mean, with AI coming into play, with more and more people turning to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini for answers about law advice or law firms, having a strong presence on every platform that you have is key to getting into those types of queries and searches. So you have that discoverability, not just on social media, but across all platforms. I mean, it just starts with social. And I think that that is a key play that nobody really understands is it's the thread that ties each channel together. And if you
Mm.
have high discoverability on social, it will translate to your other channels because content opportunities are everywhere. If you have FAQs on your website, make an FAQ video for TikTok, make an FAQ carousel for Instagram, push it forward, see if it resonated. Like there's so many content overlaps that go to social to have that thread that just ties it all together. So I think that having a winning content strategy is really what's going to increase discoverability tenfold.
Oh my gosh. Well, you are so amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about Avenue Z? I know a lot about it, but maybe for people who aren't familiar, please tell us about the company.
Oh, yeah, of course. We are a media and technology company, and we focus on comms, content, and just overall scaling. So we can scale B2B brands, D2C brands. We have an extremely diverse portfolio, but we specialize honestly in content strategy and AI optimization at the moment. And it's just been such a wild ride being with Avenue Z. I've taken so many brands to 10x their discoverability and 10x their ROAS and just their overall reach. And it's been so rewarding being able just to get so many more leads for my clients and for my D2C clients revenue. And I really enjoyed working here. But it's an incredible place to work. I would definitely recommend looking it up for anybody interested in finding a strategist. I happen to know one brand strategist there that may be interested.
How can people connect with you, Emily? What's the best place?
Yeah, of course. I would recommend LinkedIn. My in LinkedIn is Emily Zimmer, and then of course you'll see my LinkedIn headline, which is going to be Senior Brand Strategist at Avenue Z. And I would be happy to connect and just kind of talk strategy with anybody. I am obsessed with this, as you know, Francesca. So
I
of
know.
course I'm open for any type of 30-minute discussions or just brainstorming sessions. I'm definitely here as a resource.
That's why you're the best. And I said I needed to you basically did give a free strategy session to 99% of lawyers. That was a fantastic overview. So go back and watch and make sure you connect with Emily. Emily, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fantastic. I can't wait to see you in person soon.
Yes, I'll see you in New York.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for watching. This is Legal Limelight. We're here every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you next week.